this one, we are reviewing factoring and finding zeros. So first of all, remember that the zeros are, if this whole thing is 0, what would x have to be to make this true? And for each of these pieces, we could have a different value for x to make it true, because if this whole thing is 0, 0 times x minus 5 would be 0. Or if this whole thing is 0, 0 times 2x minus 1 would equal 0. So 2x minus 1 equals 0. So 2x equals 1, so x equals 1/2 is one of our solutions, or one of our zeros. And then x minus 5 equals 0, add 5, and we get x equals 5. So our zeros are 1/2 and positive 5. Okay. And we're just going to keep doing that for all of these. Notice this one, we have x equals 0. We have 5x minus 2 equals 0. And we have x squared plus 1 equals 0. So here it's just 0. Here, so 5x equals 2, so x equals 2/5. And here x squared equals -1, so x equals the square root of -1, or I. So this isn't actually an x-intercept, so we're just going to focus on the other two, so 0 and 2/5. Because really, right now, we're focusing on the real zeros. And then when we get to here, we have to factor. These are factored for us, but now we have to actually remember to do the factoring. Remember, we need it equal to 0. So x squared minus 11x plus 24 equals 0. And then I'm going to go ahead and do my diamond problem just to help me out. So I need two numbers that multiply to make 24 and add to make -11. Let's see. 12 and 2, no. 8 and 3, so -8 and -3, x minus 8, and x minus 3 equals 0, so x would be +8 and +3. And then, let's see. When we go down to this one, I notice it's got a cube in it, but I can factor that out. So I'm going to go 0 equals x times x squared minus 2x plus 1. And now I can factor this. 0 equals x times x minus 2 plus 1. This will be -1, x minus 1, right? -1 times -1 is +1, -1 plus -1 is -2. So then x equals 0 for this one, and +1, but it's repeated. So, but I only have to write that once. Here I have the sum of perfect cubes. So if we remember the pattern for that, it's going to go x plus 2, right? The cubed root of this is x, and the cubed root of this is 2. So those are the pieces I'm going to be working with. Times x squared minus, then I multiply these together, 2x, plus this one squared, 4. Okay, so then x equals -2, and can this factor? No, not really. So to find the zeros of this one, I'm going to use a quadratic formula really fast. So x equals -b plus or minus square root b squared minus 4ac divided by 2a. So x equals -2 plus or minus the square root of -2 squared minus 4 times 1 times 4, all divided by 2 times 1, which is +2 plus or minus the square root of 4 minus 16 divided by 2, 2 plus or minus the square root of -12. Okay, right here I can see that the answers to this are going to be imaginary because I'm taking the root of a negative here. So I'm just going to call it good with that right there. And then when we get to the ones like this, let's see, we've got 4, 2, and nothing. So this is actually, we can use our diamond problem. The coefficient here is -1, and here it's -30. So that's going to be -6 times +5. But then instead of being x here, it's going to be x squared minus 6 and x squared plus 5 equals 0. So x squared minus 6 equals 0. So x squared equals 6. So x equals the positive or negative square root of 6. And then here we've got x squared equals, plus 5 equals 0. So x squared equals -5. This one is going to be imaginary, so we're not going to worry about that. So this is our 0. All right, so those are kind of the different types of problems there that you're going to be working on.